Hello there, good evening, dear ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to this edition of Mountain Echoes live on DMR TV. You're coming away live from the capital of the Southwest region, Cameroon, that is in Buea. And we are honored to have you join us this beautiful day. And now we all agree that the Sustainable Development Goals, that's 17 of them. We have 2 of them that are very close to what we are going to be talking about today. The goal number 14, which has to do with life in and the under the water, and goal number 15 as well, which has to do with life on land. All this struggle within the United Nations is to ensure that humans are able to live in a very good environment, and that the aquatic life of the seas, the oceans, or the waters are able to have good life and good food for sustainability. We know how much water that occupies more than 70% of the Earth's surface has impact it has on human life. And so the United Nations, in all its efforts, putting in to ensure that these days are well commemorated, and there should be plenty of advocacy and awareness amongst the peoples across the globe. And now the 5th of June every year is commemorated as the World Environment Day. We also have just 5th, 6th, 7th, and the 8th comes to be the World Oceans Day. Cameroon is fortunate because it's not an inland locked country. It's kind of it shares boundary, I must put it that way, with the Atlantic Ocean, which those of us in the Southwest region, and most especially along the Limbe coast, there you'll be able to bear witness to the plenty of waters that Cameroon has. We are talking about two events here: the World Environment Day and the World Oceans Day, celebrated on the 5th and the 8th of June every year. And so, in this edition of Mountain Echoes, we are going to be talking these 2 days and weighing the extent to which the environment and the oceans the potentials we can explore as far as the Southwest region is concerned. Also struggling to tackle the risks that are involved in handling our environment and the ocean that we have, or waters that we have around us. So you're welcome to join us. My name is Jude Mbako Munyo, live in Buea, Cameroon. I have very prominent personalities in my midst today as members of very distinct panels. Let me start right here. With my right here, we have Dr. George Mafani Teke. Is a geologist and equally the regional delegate for scientific research and innovation for the Southwest region. Delegate, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Jude.
I recall that the last time we were here,
we're talking about disasters.
Yeah, some months ago, we're looking at the disaster that happened along the coast there in Limbe.
Absolutely.
And I hope there has been some progress.
Yes. Maybe in the course of this exchange, we may get into that.
All right. And most especially, we are honored to have the regional delegate himself for environment in the Southwest region. I'm talking about Mr. Seth Ekwadi, who is live with us in the studio. Delegate, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You are an environmentalist.
That's true.
And you're a geologist.
I'm a geologist.
Yes, but both of you are regional delegates in those administrators in those areas.
Absolutely.
So it's a big honor to have you both.
Thank you.
Yes, so this evening we are looking at these very pertinent issues which have to do with, first, we are talking about World Environment Day. This year, I don't know because I was with you last year, but this year I wasn't there personally. So maybe you just contextualize for us the World Environment Day for this year, which took place on the 5th. What was the main focus of the celebration this year?
Yes, this year at the level of the delegation.
Yes.
At the level of the delegation, we just have some activities in the field concerning especially the tree planting, and we worked with 20 NGO to revamp their activity and to be sure that they are in the field, especially with all those NGO working on conservations, and we assist them to sensitize people. Especially we have in Rodef a small competitive examination where students were there to try to design a project on conservation. Many NGOs, we work with many NGOs, even with the UB students, we work with the undergraduate students concerning the importance of land restoration and other NGOs, especially in Bukwai and in Bova.
Right. So every year, is this the pattern that you take, or was this year very peculiar to bringing those NGOs on board? Is it a routine for every year?
No, it's a routine for every year. It's not even like every year. It's a daily basis activity. We cannot protect the environment alone. We are working with all those civil society organizations, and in the Southwest we have more than 20 organizations
that are focused on environment.
Yeah, if you may permit, I can give you the name of some.
Yes,
you have ASCOA, it's the Association for Community Awareness. You have a RODEF that everybody knows. You are ASENEDEF. You have a Planet Safe Planet. You have a Green Environmental Earth. There are many. There are more than 20.
These are people with personal initiatives who create NGOs and are able to help in the sustainability of the environment.
Yeah, these are NGO working especially on environmental protections in the daily basis. Some of them have 20 members. You have some NGO like ASCOA. They can come out with 1,000 volunteers.
I think I've been with ASCOA.
Exactly.
Beach cleaning day also.
Exactly. So
I saw the crowd they pulled.
You can imagine ASCOA used to come out with 1,000 volunteers along the coast. So you have many NGO. We are just there to regulate and to organize those NGO in such a way that they can continue doing the activity. So this year, once again, we work with those NGOs, and even with media like your media, CBS and other, which we can, if you may permit me, with CRTV, with High TV, we work with them to continue raising awareness on the importance of environment. So World Environment Day is just like not us working alone, but working with our partners to raise awareness.
All right. This year, particularly, the team was focused on land. I'm talking about the international team now. It was looking at land restoration, desertification, and drought resistance. Land restoration, desertification, and drought resistance. And the campaign is always to ensure that the land and the environment is safe. How safe is the Southwest region in terms of environmental hazards at the moment, from your own measurement or your own observation at the delegation?
Environmental hazard. Let me first of all start by how much the environment is safe in the Southwest before going to hazard.
Yes.
Now, what we can say is that in the Southwest, if we take those three components of environment, being the land, the earth, the atmosphere, or the water, we can say concern the land. Our land is safe. Our land is not polluted. There's no place in the Southwest that you can see that this land is polluted or is a marginal land. You cannot till there. You cannot maybe do some activity. It may happen that some land are fragile in the Southwest in general, but in the Southwest we can see that our land is safe. Now we are going to come with some small specificities concerning the earth in the Southwest, or the air in the Southwest. The air, we don't have many factories, so we cannot say that there's a place where you cannot go and enjoy the fresh air. There too we can see that our air is safe. Concerning the water, that's where we may have a problem with our coastal line, as you said. Even our water body, we can talk about the underground water, even the surface water. But concerning our surface water and underground water, there too we don't have a lot of problems. Where we may have problem is at the level of our coastal line, with those activity, offshore activity, and even some onshore activity, but especially offshore, since we are talking about water. We have some pollutions around the coastal line, especially around Bakassi area or around Limbe area, and around the field, around the beach, down beach till Idinao. We have a problem of waste management there. So that's where we can have some small problem. That's where we need to intervene, and that's where we always intervene. So concerning the state of environment in the Southwest, if I may summarize, the land is okay, the vegetation is okay, with some problems, it's true. The air, we don't have problem. The air of the Southwest is good. The water, we have a lot to do around the coastline as far as the waste management is concerned. Now maybe I'll come back now to talk about hazard.
Okay, but before we come to hazard, this issue of waste management, it could be a hazard. I don't know how it could be a crisis. I don't know how it is, but it's a big problem in many towns and cities across Cameroon. And I recall that some time ago, I don't know the year, I've forgotten the year, I don't know, it should be 2021 or 22, your delegation at one point was struggling to promote cleanliness around the city, and a competition was launched amongst towns here. And it's been a national thing too, that some towns in the country have been battling for the prize of the cleanliness.
Yes.
Not long ago, one of your towns, Tico took the prize, and they have been competing. Limbe too was one of the cleanest in this country, but the reality today is different. I don't know whether they still stand that chance. But when you look at waste management generally and the state of urban adjustments, cleanliness and all the like, how can you rate not just Buea, your whole jurisdiction, which is the Southwest? How can you rate your towns from Kumba to, yes, because you have jurisdictions over the Southwest region. When you go across these towns, Kumba used to be called the Green City. I don't know whether it's still the Green City. You talk about tree planting. I don't know whether they still really cultivate the habit of planting trees, keeping the environment clean, like we used to have. Urbanization is taking place. So how can you rate your towns in terms of cleanliness?
If I have to compare,
yeah,
among the best.
Among the best in the country?
In the country, if I have to compare.
Okay.
But now, in the Southwest, maybe I may see something else. The first thing I have to see is that the cleanliness competition is under the Ministry of the MINJU, Ministry of Urban Development. And the other thing I want to say is that concerning the environment, sometimes we want to make the difference between the environment and the hygiene.
Okay.
The environment and the hygiene. When we are talking about environment, especially we want to talk about the earth, we breathe, the land and the water. And now the hygiene may be there or not. Talking about the waste management. But the hygiene in Cameroon generally is not managed by the Ministry of Environment.
Okay.
It's managed specially by the council.
Which unfortunately has an effect, if not well managed, on the environment.
It's clear, but I just wanted to say one or two things concerning the hygiene. But talking about the town of the Southwest, if I may say something, even though we are dirty in code this time around, but till now, Buea, Limbe, among those cleanest country in the
towns in the country.
A town in the country. I want to say cleanest, not clean, but cleanest. So if I want to compare Buea with Douala or Buea with Limbe, with Yaoundé or Bafoussam, even though I discovered the time around that Bafoussam is doing great, but I want just to say that a part of we have in the Southwest the culture of cleanliness. Okay. For that one, we can be proud of it. It's true that gradually we took as you said it, Tico and Limbe took the press those years ago, but last time it was not Tico and Limbe. It's not because sometimes it's because of the political aspect of the thing. Because the other thing is that it's not only the town of Southwest that may be the first, but the truth that the other town too are trying their best to challenge us. But what I want to say is that in the town of Buea and Limbe, a lot is done concerning the cleanliness. We have a lot to do. We have a lot to do, especially concerning waste management, because till now we are continuing dumping in our gutter. We have people who don't have trash can. Sometimes Isakam is not well organized, so we have a lot to do. But if you want me to compare, as I said, we are among the best. All right,
Doctor. This is where we are. Last time when we came here, we were looking at the hazards that poor town urbanization, construction, and all the like has cost, and so the people were paying the huge price for it. Because if you go through Buea town now, the effects of the the flash flood that happened from the mountain, you still see reminiscences of the effects, and all these are small things that come down to seriously hamper the land. This is where land degradation usually come in. You are not really into environment, but you are a geologist and you study the soil, and you are a master of these environmental things. What is your perception so far with Southwest or Buea? Maybe let's put it Buea.
Thank you.
As this is concerned.
Thank you. First of all, I want to situate my intervention here.
Okay.
My colleague of environment, they are into the environment. Our role in scientific research is to generate the data, transform it to information that we give them so that they can use that information to implement measures that can help improve on the environment.
So which means you are very scientific in your approach.
We are scientific in our approach.
And they are policy.
They are policy and implementation.
Okay.
We do the science and give the information to them.
Okay.
Because in the southwest, the coastal area, it's the Agriculture Institute Institute of Agricultural Research for Development under the Ministry of Scientific Research. That it has the mandate of doing monitoring, evaluation, and research along the coast.
It's usually called IRAD or something?
IRAD,
yes.
IRAD Batake.
Okay.
That's their mandate. So they have a Department of Oceanography, and we do research to see how the marine environment is changing. And this is data that has accumulated over the years. Now what we do is that when we do this research, we transform it to information and pass it on to the different stakeholder ministries. The Ministry of Environment is one of those ministries that we work with. So our role here is to do research. And like my colleague said, he got into the aspects of implementation. But when we go down to the field, he said something here that the Southwest is clean, relatively. He was looking at relative measures. But as somebody who is working in the Southwest and for the country through the Southwest, I want to take it a little bit further. We may sit on our laurels and just let everything lie low because we think that the Southwest is clean. There is a lot more we can do because the scientific data that we are generating shows that we are gliding towards a precipice. He talked about the cleanliness of the Southwest and that the land is okay. True, the land is okay from a general perspective. But we are seeing an increase in nitrate pollution in the environment, especially with the groundwater, in the groundwater system. That is because of the habits of the people, the population. Now we are seeing an increase. Groundwater is supposed to be the best quality water in terms of the best potable water in terms of quality. Especially around the Mount Cameroon area. But increasingly, we are seeing an increase in the biological pollution of the groundwater system. And that is because of the activity of man. So I agree with him that on a comparative base, the Southwest is doing very well. But let's look inward. Let's introspect and look at ourselves. I will say we are not doing very well because if we don't sound these alarm bells, will continue with these activities that are affecting the environment. So that's what.
So where are the common areas of intervention that you think we can engage at the moment, be it as a population or even at an individual level, and right up to the council and the delegation? Where are those areas of intervention?
I think there are four major stakeholders when it comes to things like this. You have the government. You have the community, you have the local authorities.
Which are the councils?
The councils and even the regional assemblies. And then you have the communities. Those are the four major stakeholders: the government, the local authorities, civil society, and the communities. Those are the four major stakeholders when it comes to, permit me double into the sphere of my colleague in environmental management, and I dare say disaster management. Government has put in place the policies and institutions to help curb these activities, these obnoxious activities that may affect the environment and result in some disasters. The NGOs are supposed to be sounding the alarm bells because they are supposed to be like watchdogs to make sure that the activities of both government and the users of the environment are in congruence with sustainable practices or best practices. The other component, the local authorities, that's the councils. The councils are the front line in managing these things, because they are directly responsible for the municipalities that they are under their jurisdiction. Then you have the communities, because they are the affected population. Now, when anything happens, they are the first respondents. The respondents, they are the ones who go out first. So these are the four major stakeholders. And the observation we've had is that we can't put blame on any one of them. If we want to blame, we blame everybody, because it's shared responsibility. And all of us have to come together to see how we can address these issues.
So we're basically looking at the issue of waste management, but then there are other related. All of us are agreeing that there are other related issues. When we talk about the air, do we have situations where our air can be touched so far? Climate change is a reality. In fact, in Tico, the other day in Tico, we could not breathe in Limbe.
Yes, when I was talking about, and I said it, when I want to talk about, I wanted to compare.
Yes.
And or compared. Now we put a air monitor in Yaoundé, around our building. As I'm talking like that, that means near the Prime Minister building, and we discovered that we were surprised that the air of Yaoundé is really polluted. Heavily polluted. That's why I was saying that compared to, because you know that we are lucky, because in the southwest are part of the division of Fako, where you have urbanizations. Other area are like a part of Kumba. Let me say they are the forest or the vegetation, and a part of that vegetation you have the ocean. As we discovered that the ocean is just there to renew the air. So we are lucky to have the ocean near us at the level of the Fako and the forest. Because of that, our air till now is not much polluted compared to Douala and Yaoundé, where the air is polluted because of transport. That's what I was saying. Yes, so our air is good, very good for the moment. Even with the analysis that we have for the moment, the amount of particle inside our air now is good. But the monitor that we have now in Douala and Yaoundé show clearly that our air is polluted. That's even why till now the Ministry of Environment was working to see how with the transport we can stop importation of some old cars, because we discovered that if nothing is done, by 10 years we are going to have a serious problem of air pollution in our main town.
And yes. I want to guess is one of the causes of the heat that we are facing every year now and then with the climate change.
Yes.
So now let us look a bit. These are the issues. There might be many, but when you talk about environment, looking back at us, do we have some potentials or some things we can gain by our own environment that we have here? For instance, it's true that we have a good vegetation. How can we make use? Because one of the reasons this program is coming is because we want to explore those possibilities of also enhancing what we have. We have an environment that is good. Yes. How can we make use of this environment? What are the techniques that we can harness the beauty of the environment, and what could be the benefits to us?
Okay, let me permit me. As I told you at the beginning, when we talk about environment, we see these three dimensions.
Yes.
We may put aside the air, but at least we can emphasize on the water and the land.
Yes.
So now on the land we have the vegetations, for example, and you have agricultural activities, because we cannot forget that we practice agricultural activity on the land. So to benefit from the first thing is that when we are using it, because in Cameroon we are thinking about agriculture is the main activity in many rural area, in many communities. So the idea is that we have to take advantage from of the environment, and on land, for example, while doing agriculture, there's it. You have to do it the sustainable way. Now, if I say that in the sustainable way, maybe people may ask me how. It depends. No matter how you are doing agriculture, you have a lot of techniques, a lot of norms that you have to respect. For example, when you're in the slope area, you have to know the direction of how you are doing your agriculture. You cannot go from down to top, or top down or top down. You have to go in such a way that you cannot allow water to pass through. You have to stop the water. If not, you are going to have leaching, what we are calling erosions. When you are using your chemicals, for example, fertilizers, you have to know the amount of fertilizer to put when and how to do it. When you are using your chemical to spray, you have to know the type of chemical, the time, and all those things. That's why we are calling sustainable. So I want to show that when we are using land, for example, I can go to another activity, clearing. When we want to clear, you should know what to clear, how to clear it. You cannot go and clear everything.
Every vegetation.
And now, where even we have our farm, we should know that maybe we cultivate here and we allow the forest to be here. When we have our cocoa farm to remain in the southwest, we should know that in that cocoa farm we is supposed to have agroforest. Farm agroforest, that means the farm is you have cocoa, but inside that cocoa you have other trees. You have it look like the forest, or you have a lot of vegetation, because apart of the cocoa we may need the grass to eat. You may need the other thing to heal yourself. That's the idea of sustainability.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? I was talking about land. I can go now to the water, as my colleague was explaining. If you want to go to details, while we are using our water, we have to think about the environment. That means, first of all, even the water we are using per day is not because we are ready to pay water.
That you can just use anyhow.
Because as we are using it here, in federal quarter, by using a lot of water, you can create a shortage, and we have to think about that. The other thing, not only about the amount of water you are using, but you should know that before having the water, the water should reach you, the thermal plant in Limbe is polluting. Because before having the water, you can have the water without having the light. You have the water because of the light. Apart of some tender, you can have water through gravity. But if you don't have water through gravity, that means you need the thermal plant to function to give you water. So you can use a lot of water. That means some person somewhere is polluting to give you water. Not the water himself, but the current to give you water. You have to think about it. And I want to go to underground. Some people, because they can have the water on the underground, they don't mind. Maybe something about their septic tank or about the waste, for example. Because even not only the waste, but even the septic tank. So, if I may answer your question, that we can take advantage of those. When we are taking care of those things, we are taking advantage of the environment at the same way we are protecting the environment. That's how we can take care of the environment. We can talk about environment in all domains. There's nothing we can do without talking about environment. Even while breathing, you have to think about environment. Yes, everywhere. So that's why I don't know why I cannot put better the idea that at any moment you have to think about environment, to take advantage of the environment, because those resources are there to be used, but we have to use them
responsibly. Doctor, I'm even having the impression that as days are going by, we don't have many more people working on farms, because all the farms around here have been bought and houses are being constructed. People don't want to go to the farm again. They're rather using many things now, engaging companies that pollute the place and causing more havoc. But like you said, human activities are really causing us a lot of hazard. I want you a little more to go into this and expand how these some of those activities that humans that we do at individual levels that can really be detrimental to the environment.
Permit me, before we get into that, and should I go, just bring me back to it. I just wanted to touch onto something. The use of this phrase climate change is one phrase that I am very careful how I use it.
Okay.
Because our observation is that we always blame things that happen to us or to the environment to climate change. And when we push that blame to climate change, we don't take responsibility for it. It's very common to walk down the streets of Boya and then there is a flood somewhere or something, and you ask the affected people or the inhabitants of where, they tell you that is because of climate change. What does that mean? So when we keep on talking about climate change, we are not taking responsibility for our actions. I'm not in any way saying that climate change does not exist. And people think that climate change is caused only by man. No, climate change is caused by natural processes.
Okay.
If we have a big eruption, it can cause the climate to change. It's happened over time from 1815, but it happened in Mount Tambora in Indonesia, in 1883 in Mount Krakatoa, still in Indonesia. Then we had in 1991 in Mount Pinatubo in Philippines. You had these huge volcanic eruptions that caused the temperature, the global temperature of the Earth to drop by about 0.5 degrees. So there are natural processes that can cause climate to change. Now, that doesn't exonerate man. Now, when we come down to us, how we conduct ourselves, you asked the question about the
hazards.
The hazards.
Yeah.
Before we get to those hazards, my colleague gave a synopsis on how the climate is perceived, air, land, and water. And we're talking about the Southwest region. The natural physiographic regime of the Southwest helps in cleansing the environment, because we have a coastline from where the mountain rises steeply, and the processes that take place there help in cleansing. That's why the Buncha is the wettest place in Cameroon, because of these huge edifice that rises suddenly above the ocean. So when moisture-laden winds leave the ocean, they come, they rise above the mountain. When they are rising, they leave the moisture on this side of the mountain and move on the other side of the mountain like dry winds. That's why we have a lot of rainfall in that area. And this has a lot of benefits for the people living around this area and for Southwest as a whole, because of the natural environment. If you look at the Southwest region, especially along the coastal areas, the incidence of goiter is very minimal. Why? Because the moisture that comes from the ocean is rich in iodine. It condenses and falls back as groundwater and as rainfall, then percolates down to the water table and introduces iodine into the groundwater. So the people living around here, the water that they drink is rich in iodine. That takes care of the incidence of goiter. Okay. Now, if we don't protect these natural systems, that's when we'll have distortions or disequilibriums that will now degenerate into disasters. And we're talking about the disasters that we can have around here. You know, if you look at the mountain, we've always had flash floods on Mount Cameroon. For more than 50, 60, 70 years, it's not a new phenomenon. The difference that we are observing now is that the impact on the population and infrastructure is increasing. This is because man is encroaching into areas that man is not supposed to go to, or humans, to be more gender balanced. Humans are encroaching into those areas. So it's human activity that is accentuating the impact of this natural phenomenon. And remember that when the natural phenomenon takes place without causing the loss of life or property, it is a hazard. But when it causes loss of life or property or disrupts the socio-economic life of the people, it becomes a disaster. Okay. So humans have a lot to do onto that, and I think that's where the Ministry of Environment comes in, to educate humans, the people living around these areas, on best practices on how to live in a sustainable manner with the environment.
By the way, Southwest region, for example, you say it's free somehow from the hazards we have in the other regions. Like
no, I did not say that.
No, it's free somehow. It's not even you who said it. The truth is that you cannot compare Southwest with Douala, for instance, or Littoral.
It depends on the kind of hazard. It depends on the kind of hazard.
In terms of air, because of the industry.
No, let us say it depends on not even hazard. We're talking about pollution.
Okay.
Yes, it depends.
Oh, pollution.
Yeah, we're talking about pollution.
Yes, because there's a distinction.
No, we're talking about hazard is other things. Yes, it depends on. It's better in terms of pollution, air pollution,
Okay.
or waste pollution. You could have the air pollution, but even the waste pollution, our sea, the coastline, is exactly like the Vori River. So there is even worse than the Vori River. So I was talking that as far as the air is concerned, our air in the Southwest is better than the other region because of the two regions. First of all, the first region being that we are near the ocean. We have the new air coming from ocean entering the country. That's why when you are around the Limbe coastline, you can enjoy the fresh air. That's the air coming from the ocean. It's pure. And the other thing, you have now the other air coming from Korob National Park, Takamara National Park, from the vegetation. Okay. So those two air is
gives us an advantage.
An advantage.
But then we have I don't know how true this is, but some people have argued that we have a company, we have Sonera, which also does a lot of pollution.
That's why
That's around
I'm telling people that people are speaking without data,
Okay.
without fact. In Cameroon, we don't have 1%. When you're talking about impacting, altering our environment, the own industry is there 1%. We have even one factory only. I can say 1 or 2 factory in the Southwest. Do you know how many factories we have per kilometer in Lusambo? We have only one. Till now, even now, for example, we don't even have one. Because Sonara is off. Ilwani is off. Ilwani mill. I don't want to talk. That's not when I talk about factory polluting. You don't want to talk about the Tico rubber factory. That's not factory. Let's talk about factory. So at the level of the Sonara, if you want to talk, they may send some pollutant on the air, not especially pollutant on the air. You have about 2-3 pollutant, and those they are around the vicinity of the refinery, and that's even why they have in the Sonara they have a monitor. They are monitoring their air. So when we want to talk about the air of in the Southwest, we don't have problem concerning the air. Even in Cameroon in general, we have a part of the Douala around the port. We can talk about dust, but because of factory. Yes, the dust of Douala is because of the cement company who are there. But when you go BN, and others, we are not talking about pollution of the air.
So should we spend
Compared to, I'm talking compared to.
Yes. So, but should we spend more time talking about climate change? I know you don't want to hear this, doctor.
Not now. Since I'm here, I can tell this world I never talk about climate
change. But this is the song
you asked me about the aspect of environment in the Southwest. I was giving the general aspect of the environment in the Southwest. I was comparing it to other regions. Now, if I want to give the data of the environment in the Southwest, the other thing I was compare it to.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. In Limbe, I like to take that example. When you are eating bread, it can fall. Excuse me to say it. You can pick it. You cannot pick it in Douala. I get what I'm saying. I want to say. When you are eating your bread or your cake on the road in Limbe or in Boya, it's not advisable to do so. But you can fall and you pick it. In Douala, you cannot do so. We are the same coastal area with a lot of moisture. You can walk with your slippers, with your easily in Limbe, in Boya, without be sure that the motor. That's some aspect of the cleanness. That's what I was compared to.
Natural advantage.
You're getting it, So I just give you that aspect. Till now, I don't talk about the climate or climate change.
But then why is there so much song? We've seen this government of Cameroon and many international. Every day we are hearing stories of climate change. You are spending millions of.
It's two other things. When we want to talk about climate change, you can talk about climate change. The idea of climate change is not only spending money. We are feeling it. It's a reality. It's an evidence. For those who were in Boya, they can talk. Now you don't even need to be environmentalist to talk about climate change. In those days, 20 years ago, when I was coming here in Boya, I was talking about climate change. People were looking at me like a dog or a strange man.
But
now, it's people telling me, sometimes they even want to say that there's no climate change much. People are telling me about climate change. You just need, you can feel climate change. When I talk about climate change, you have 3 main, I can say parameters or element of things.
Okay.
The temperature. Everybody know about temperature. It's now we're not coming to talk about temperature in Boya. People are using fan in Muliko. People are using AC in the governor office. So I don't need to expand on that.
Right.
Concerning the rainfall, it's yesterday that some person was telling me that we're supposed to wait June before seeing the real rain in Boya. It's yesterday that people were telling me that when I was working in the field, talking concerning this world environment, people were telling me that delegate, how it happened that this year is 2 days ago that we can see a real rain.
Yeah.
So I'm not the one expert on environment to come and talk about climate change. A layman can talk about the climate change. Concerning the wind, go and ask those farmers. We're expecting wind in October, December, those days to put down our plantains. Now, even in March, in April, the wind will put all the maize and all the plantain down. The speed of the rain have changed. When you have all those three elements that will change, those elements of climate, if you want to say, we can conclude that the climate has changed. You are getting me? So now, he said it all. We are not there to do research to see if the climate has changed or not. We are there to sensitize people. People should do something. If not, climate will change. Then you have to attenuate the effect of climate change. And since the climate have changed, you have to do something. You have to adapt yourself. For example, the way you have to build now, if you were building before in Bokwango with small windows, stop it. You have to build now in Bokwango have big windows because you have to
from the wind direction.
And thank you so much. And from the wind direction, we are asking people to adapt themselves. You ask people that now you don't construct you can. If you go to Jari, we see houses with they preview somewhere to put firewood to eat themselves. We are going to tell them the contrary. We should not put those things to eat ourselves, but you should build with maybe AC because we need it. Or you have to take about. You get what we are doing the daily basis. So that is it. And we are telling now concerning the money that we are talking about the community. When you talk about climate change, we have two party or two annex. We have those poor country and those rich country. If I may say that, we are talking about the country of the annex A, the rich country, and the country of annex B, the poor country. The poor country, those who are not polluting, so much because everybody pollutes, and the rich, those are polluting. We are telling them that people should give us money to adapt ourselves, to protect ourselves, because a rich man with a climate. With a good climate or not, he can produce.
Yes.
My mother in the village, if the climate is not good, he cannot produce. So assist me to climate. That's why people are making it. That's why Cameroonian, those poor country or those poor country in who are about to be developed are making noise to remind those who are already rich that
you are the ones who are doing it.
Yeah, people should give us small money, small support to adapt ourselves or to attenuate the effect of climate change, because if not, we can cut those trees to those remaining trees and aggravate the situation. You know, when we were in school, they were telling us that the Congo basin is the second in the world. And now, the thing have changed. With the data of science research, it's called that is the first. Yes.
Even more than the
Amazon, because they have cut their forest.
Yes.
Oh. So we are getting the thing now. So that's why we are making noise. So we are not making noise to threaten people or to treating people. We are making noise to tell people that, Mom, you have to adapt yourself. And a lot of it to be done concerning climate change. I cannot, even if you give me even 2 days, I cannot talk about climate change because people in Muyuka cannot plant their plantain and harvest it because they will harvest the plantain is already die down because of the wind of climate change. Sometimes because having their plantain that they are expecting to sell in the market, there's no rain in November. Whereas in the south, we're supposed to have rain in November till the end of the month of November. Even people don't know that. So if there's no rain in November, we don't have planting because planting is 10 months to be done. If we plant planting in March, we are expecting it to be okay in December. Because of climate change, there's no rain in November and people will not sell. Sometime in August, you are not expecting a lot of rain, but because of rain in October and July, people don't have cocoa. So when I talk about climate change, it's a evidence.
Heavy topic on its own.
Yeah, if I may come in, if I said on this platform that I don't like using that phrase climate change, it is not because it does not exist. It is because when we use it, we push the responsibility to some other people. That was the only reason. But climate change effectively exists, and like the delegate of environment said, we are already feeling the effect of climate change. We're already feeling the effects of climate change, but we have to downscale that to our responsibilities, to our activities. What do we do to mitigate those impacts? Because people always blame others. He said something here about the air pollution index in the southwest region, and said it was very low. He's very correct. And we have to be careful. We have to strike a balance between this whole paradigm of climate change and development. That's why we're talking about sustainable development. Because development may be stalled because we are harping more on the environment, more on climate change, without looking at aspects of development. So we have to strike a balance. Keen on what he has said, how much of pollution are we having from in factories in the southwest region? Virtually nothing. So we need more factories in the southwest region because the natural system is taking care of the pollutants that are sent into the atmosphere. So as far as the atmosphere is concerned, the system is not saturated yet. But in doing that, we have to do that in a manner that is sustainable. So we don't put a lot of pressure on the natural system and take it to the point where it's going to collapse in itself and then cause these distortions. So when we're talking about these things, we need to strike them.
Can we account this too for the... We know that before, I think around 2019 or so, there were reports that there were quite a lot of unexploited extractive minerals within Cameroon, and Southwest too was one of those points. But we've not been able to extract most of our minerals, and sometimes people feel that it's because they want to preserve the environment for this reason. And when you talk about development, these are minerals that would have helped us. So can this also account for one reason why we are still back?
Definitely not. It's not because of the environment that we've not started any exploitation of minerals, because the people who are talking about minerals in the Southwest region maybe saying it from a perspective with very little information. You know, there are different kinds of deposits. Let's use the umbrella phrase, mineral deposits. There are different kinds of mineral deposits. You have a deposit that, yes, it is there, you have seen the mineral, but is it economically exploitable? Okay. Now, economically exploitable, you have two major factors, the geological factors and the socioeconomic factors. Are all these factors favorable such that if an investor comes and puts his or her equipment there and extracts, that investor is going to make a profit, because that's the ultimate goal of that venture? We've not reached that level, because the level of geological confidence or geological understanding of the deposits we have in the Southwest region is still very, very low. So most of the things we have are maybe inferred mineral resources or indicated mineral resources, which are not reserves. It's reserves that you can start looking at exploitation. So you see, in the Southwest region,
it's still virgin.
As far as solid minerals are concerned, we don't have that. But if it comes to hydrocarbons, a lot of research has been done, and research has shown that we have some good hydrocarbon reserves in the Southwest region, and exploitation is going on in some of the hydrocarbon basins, offshore and onshore, the Southwest region. So the reason why we don't have this explosion of factories in the Southwest region, in my opinion, I don't think it's because
not due to environmental.
No, it has nothing to do with the environment, because for any business to be done, even, you have to do an environmental and social impact assessment study that shows that in carrying out the business of extraction, you're going to carry out measures that will make sure that you do not greatly impinge on the equilibrium of the environment.
All right. So we've talked a lot about environment. Let us quickly also look at the ocean, because the United Nations made the feat. I don't think this is a coincidence. It's a coincidence. It was intentional somehow. They made the feat, the World Environment Day, and then the 8th World Ocean Day. And from some videos we just watched on the screen, I've seen a couple of times that you've been down there along the Atlantic Ocean there in Limbe. It's a beach that I don't know. I asked someone why our own beaches are like, it's not like Miami Beach in the US and others with beautiful sceneries and all that. But ours, it's always like this. I don't know how the aquatic life in that water, how they survive, the flora there, and even the fauna. So when we talk about World Ocean Day, basically what tool are we looking at? Is it about the health of the ocean? What are those specificities?
Thank you. It's about it's about the health of the ocean. Okay. But if I may say something about the quality or the color of our water,
yes,
it's because it's unique. It's a volcanic. We have a volcanic source.
Means you cannot have the beautiful beaches that we...
You cannot say that it's not beautiful. It's the color that is dark. When you are in those beaches, you enjoy it. You can see a cribby with the granitic soil. The color is different. But here you're in Limbe, I think it's unique. It's unique.
Black in color.
Yeah, black in color, and we have those beaches that we have. I was discussing last time again that you have the Limbe is unique because from the sea you are to the mountain. It's no, you cannot see that in many countries in the world. From the sea, you go to the mountain. Are you getting me? It's unique. That's why people sometimes come to Cameroon to see that from the sea, you go to the mountain and you have the volcanic soil.
Means from the lowest point to the
you go to the highest point, and you have volcanic soil. Many beaches don't have volcanic soil. That's the color of the color. So to go back to the sea, in general, the ocean days talk about the heft of the sea. But when I'm talking about heft, it's about those functions, those ecological functions. The sea has functions. One of these functions is to provide air, oxygen. One of the functions is to provide fish. One of the functions is to allow transport.
Okay.
You're getting it, If there's no sea, there's no transport. If there's no sea, there's no transport. A lot of transport, more than 90% of transport is in the sea. And so if you have those things in the sea, are you getting me? That's why when they always talk about the river, they are telling you if you can do transportation there or not. All those things that you have in Cameroon, in Africa, from another country to a country B, A to a country B, you need a seat. So the ocean is important. So to talk about, especially concerning the sea, is the life inside the sea. When we are talking about environment, we are talking about the biodiversity. We have billion of species of sea. So we are talking about when we are celebrating this day, to remind people that they should not take, maybe for example, the sea as a dump site. As you can see in Limbe. So when I'm going to Limbe, generally is to remove or to encourage people to remove those things, to remind people if the sea, if the sea is not beauty, if you have those things, you cannot enjoy the sea. That's where in Limbe, in the southwest, you have only 2 or 3 beaches. I don't want to give their names. No matter how our coastline is big, is long, you can enjoy only some small spaces, and people are making money because of that. Whereas the water is free of charge, they have to pay 2,000 to enjoy the beach.
Okay.
Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because the sea is not heft, it's not hefty. So the whole environment is to remind people about the heft of the sea, but especially the light. Because if you continue dumping the sea, all those fishes and other species will die.
Affected.
Yes, the transport will not be possible. The air will not be there, and we cannot enjoy our life.
Doctor, I want to add something.
Yes,
I want to, in as much as you talk with your very technical language, I also acknowledge the fact that our audience are some local people who sometimes listen to this language and they don't understand. So when you go also up, bring it down to when you talk in that scientific way, bring it down to the people who stay in that area to understand what we are talking about.
Thank you.
The health of the sea, of the ocean around Limbe there. This is Fako, and that's the headquarters of this division. So, what is the problem we have with our beaches?
I think human activity is affecting our coastal environment a lot. We are largely responsible for that. You know, the delegate spoke about dumping waste in the sea. And this dumping is not like you go to the sea and you dump that waste. You may dump waste in ravines or waterways here in Buea, and it ends up in the ocean. Wow. So it's shared responsibility. Let's not think that, what happens upstream affects everything downstream. So we need to know that it's not because you live in Buea that you think that activities in Buea cannot affect what's happening down in Limbe. We need to know that the plastic you dump in Buea will end up in the ocean. And like somebody who grew up around this area, there is something that I noticed, and many people who are about my age and older will notice. We used to have a species of fish, I don't know the scientific name, mololo. There was a special species of mololo that was coming from Tiko, and the indigenous people around here called that fish Veloloi Tiko in Bakwiri. That was mololo that came from Tiko. If you go to the market now and you ask for that species, you will not see it. There is another species, Munyanya, munyanya, when we were growing up, this was the kind of fish that if it was sun-dried, they used to roast it, use it with oil to eat cocoyams, plantains, or whatever, and you could get the aroma of that munyanya 1-2 kilometers away. Today we don't see that. Where has munyanya gone? Where has the Tico gone? We can't find them, or even if we find them, not in the quantities that we used to have them, because of the effect that human activity has had on our coastline. So you see how activities are affecting us. And if you take it up a little, we have researchers who've worked on marine species along the coastline. And one of the things they identified was mercury pollution. You catch a fish from the ocean, you take it to the laboratory, you analyze it, and you discover that it has a high concentration of mercury in the system. Now, mercury is a very toxic substance. If you consume it from the fish, it gets into your body from that fish. These are things that we are working on, and all of this is because of the activities of man. So we have distorted the natural equilibrium in the ocean. So the health of the ocean is very, very important to our livelihood.
So about that, do we also have issues of, I don't know how, those species that are getting missing, could it also be some kind of indiscriminate fishing that we have along there? Because to go down to Eden now, where we have so much fish in there, does it affect? Do we have the quantity of aquatic life?
What we may say, and that's what Dr. Israel was trying to say, is that because of human activity, the number of species and the quantity of the special species may differ. I'm trying to speak in the very simple way. Yes. I'm trying my best. That means if, for example, the species called Omololo was living around Tico. Yes. Because of human activity, the quality of water at Tico will not be the same. So that species will leave that area or may not be ready to reproduce himself in that area. Okay. The quantity now of this very species will get increasing or even disappear. Or the species will leave that place and move forward in the ocean, or even leave there to go to Dinao, even leave to go to Lagos. So that's how we happen in the sea. So we are going to talk about one species, and then it may happen that that species that will disappear. Because when I talk about species, I want to go down. I'm trying my best to go down. Yes, it's the name of one fish. But one fish, for example, like a Mololo, may have many types of Mololo. We are talking about now the variety, the genes, and all those things. So even those barfish, for example, I want to talk about barfish. That species of barfish, you can have many, even 100 type of barfish. So because you change the activity, or because you are dumping plastic in the waste, or because you are dumping fuel in the ocean, that species or certain species may disappear. That's why the World Environment Day, the Ocean Day, is coming to raise this awareness that your activity may alter or may degrade the environment or degrade the environment. You are getting the thing. So, and you say something other now that's very important. The bioaccumulation. That means if we send pollution in the sea, the species of the sea, those fish, those mammal in the sea, all those things, those life in the sea, they will consume them. And when you go to fish and you come out with those fish, if you being consume it, you will carry the same disease or the same metals. Like you're talking about mercury, it can be plum, it can be cadmium, all those metals will be on you, and it may be, and we always say that it may be the source of cancer. That's why in those days, and that's what I'm trying to tell people every day, to see a person with a cancer was a miracle. But now in each family, you have at least 2 or 3. There's no family without cancer now. When you talk about cancer in those days, like people was even ask how it happened, how it look like. But now if you want to see a picture of cancer, just go to any hospital. You see about 3 or 4 persons per day. is so common now because of what we are consuming. Not only because in fish, even in cassava we are consuming, even in plantain we are consuming. Because if you plant a plantain in the dump site or anything with batteries there, you consume that metal, and when you eat it, you have bioaccumulation. So that's I'm trying since to explain it simply to say that all those environment they are just came to raise awareness of the dangers of the human activity on the environment.
When you go out, do you have the impression that people are really understanding you? Because every day
people are getting us, but it's exactly what Dr. Mfani is trying to do. People are thinking that they are not concerned.
Yes.
So they are concerned maybe with, they are not concerned with when it comes to actions. That's why I come, for example, you took many examples to explain that. You can have flood, you can have water, or you can have flood without having affected people. I get what I'm saying now. You can have flood without having affected people, for example. So if you know, you take your measure that this place is a risky zone, you will not go there. If you know, for example, that some vegetable, we have some people, and it's here that I discovered that when they go to the market, they will not take those big okuberries, those big leaves. They will take those small leaves. When you ask them, they're telling you that because those big leaves are nitrogens, are fertilizer.
Yes.
If you know that, you will not eat it. People know that in the market before having ripe plantain. People know that they are putting some, I don't want substance on it before it ripe. Maybe everybody knows that. But when you come, women going to the market, they prefer to buy ripe plantain instead to buy unripe plantain and keep them at home.
And ripen them yourself.
And that's what we do. So we cannot continue only sensitizing people. When we sensitize people, we have to take your action as yourself. The other thing that we may ask, that why are you people are not going to hold those women in the market to stop them, even to give them fine? That's a good question, and that can be done. But if you go, my mother go to his kitchen, take the plantain from Munya market, go to his room, put the substance there, I will not be aware. I cannot go beyond any woman to catch the women that don't sell those plantains. We are the one to take responsibility of our life. We should. I'm giving some small example. For example, plastics. I'm telling people more than 12 years ago that plastic is petrol. You can continue to see students from UB, those who have A level, going to buy pap with plastic. They put in the plastic and they eat. I am sure that in 20 years they will have cancer. I'm sure. Plastic is petrol. You see them taking the hot water in a cup, plastic cup, whereas they know that is not advisable. So, as Doctor was saying, we are there to raise awareness, we are there to sensitize people, but we cannot be policing people to share how they live. We can talk about that even with the waste. You can see a Zakam trash can there. Everybody know that this is trash can. You see a mom sending a child to go and dump, and you dump it down, and at the end of the day, it will reach Tico, and you reach the beach, and you reach the ocean. You are getting so we have a lot to do concerning our behavior.
So it's true that it's difficult, but at least there should be some level of control which policymakers can implement. I'm saying it. I'm not saying
without going to the doctor, I just wanted to tell you that to be honest. And he said it today that maybe there's nobody to blame. I didn't want to react. I don't know why he said that there's nobody to blame. Everybody is to blame.
Right.
The government is to
blame. I say shared responsibility. Shared blame.
The government is to blame. Sometimes I have to be in my office and say I have to be blamed for allowing people using plastic anywhere because they are not aware of the danger. But sometimes when I go with them to the court, as I used to go, people used to ask me that you are bringing people in this court in the cell only because of plastics.
Means even the people that called
people used to ask me that. So you did not see nothing to do than to go with people because of plastic. It's very funny, and I like the way. That's why sometimes I even stop here. People are doing their business in plastic. Where's alternative?
They minimize the impact.
Yes, and people, everybody, even high hierarchy, used to ask me that, where are alternative? If there's no alternative, allow us to use our plastic. And I'm allowing them using their plastic. But I'm allowing them to die too. I'm to blame for allowing people dying. You're getting? We can say that in all domain. The state is to blame. The individual is to be blamed. The community is to blame. You get what I'm saying? I'm saying, for example, I'm talking once more for our beach. We are not part of our beach. Who is not aware of that? The state is aware. The community is aware. See the Maestis beach. Nobody can go there. Even the community might see beach in Limbe. Nobody can go. And there are people, I want to see the once again, taking 2,000 per person to take a bath. In the whole ocean, you cannot have a bath. We have to blame.
Yes, doctor. So I also wanted you to throw some light on the on this issue of the beaches or our beaches or our coastline. We should know that it's quite long, and what are some of the potentials that we can really benefit if we keep these beaches very much alive, and how much can it really benefit us as a people? Those are natural resources that we don't know how to use them. The delegate has given us all the funny things we do. But what if we change our mindset and begin to do things positively? What could we have? What can we benefit?
We stand to benefit a lot from these natural resources that God has given us. And let's take the beaches of the southwest. Let's limit ourselves to Fako. In Fako, we have what we call the shingle beach or the stony beach or pebbles beach, that you go and you find pebbles. And then you have the sandy beach. Yes. Those sandy beaches are some of the best beaches that you can have in the country. And there is a reason why. Even from a health standpoint, when you walk barefooted on soil, over time, there is some elements that you absorb from the soil into your system just by coming into contact with it. Those beaches, they are colored, they are mineralized, and those minerals have a therapeutic effect on the human body.
Yes,
so naturally, it's a very good thing.
So what you're advising is that I could just take a weekend and go and stroll on the beach. Okay.
Yes, just go stroll on the beach, and then even the air that you breathe along the coast is different from the air that you breathe away from the coast. And the air that you breathe along the coast, especially if it's not polluted air, it has a way of reinforcing your lungs. So these are advantages that we have around us. The tourism potential of these beaches, it's very huge. So we have the responsibility. My colleague of environment, Mr. Kwadi, said something here about our activities along these beaches. There is a problem of awareness. The awareness is because you only heard us talking about flash floods in Boya when it struck and killed people. After that, how many people are talking about it? It's gone. So the perception that the population has, or those people living in those areas, they have about the environment, it's very important. And I think that's the role of the Ministry of Environment, to educate, to inform, educate, sensitize, and make people understand that these things exist. If we don't do our part, then we will be affected either directly or indirectly. And if you look at some of the parts of the coastline of the southwest region, since we are responsible for the southwest region, the Limbe coastline, in terms of depth, is the deepest coastline along the coast of Cameroon. This is because of the volcanic nature of this coastline. Lava flows that have flown into the ocean, and they've created that natural depth. In other areas, you have coastlines, the depth that is about 10, sometimes 5 meters, but the Limbe coastline is 20 meters or thereabouts, which is the deepest part of the Cameroon coastline. So these are some natural attributes that our area has that we have to take advantage of, and we have the responsibility to do our part. The responsibilities at different levels. You have the community, the people who just go through their daily lives, who generate domestic waste. Domestic waste has its own way of polluting. Then we have industrial waste too, which my colleague of environment knows about better than I do. Industrial waste that is polluting too. So some of the major pollutants we are seeing in the ocean, it's coming from the drilling of hydrocarbon extraction of hydrocarbon products in the ocean, and when that happens, spillage occurs and it gets into the ocean. And sometimes some of the vessels that transport these hydrocarbon products, they may have leakages and there's spillage in the environment, in the coast.
Affects the aquatic life.
Exactly.
But do you feel like there's this commitment within our communities? And when you talk about communities, we are not talking about space. We are talking about people. We are talking about just villages. We are looking at communities that have leaders. Community leaders. We have quarter heads. We have chiefs. Yes, we work with NGOs. Maybe NGOs are more they are civilized to understand some of these things. But the local people there, the local chiefs, how engaged are they towards this fight? The local population.
What I may say, I may be wrong. Maybe people can have another point of view. But what I discovered in Cameroon is that it's not that people are not aware or they don't want. It's that sometimes people are aware, they even don't want, they are willingness to do. But when you discover that they are the only people doing it, and the other don't mind,
they give up.
They give up. When I was coming to the survey, I will tell you that I was surprised how I'm seeing it now. When you see people doing the community work, I want to tell you that it's only, people may say that, but I will say this, I'm accountable. It's only in the southwest and in the north where you can see people coming out in numbers and doing community work. You cannot see that in the other regions. Maybe a bit too in the west regions. Southwest, west, and northwest. You can see people in neighborhood.
Clean-up campaign.
Yeah, clean-up campaign coming out free of charge. Other people don't do that. Because they were doing that before. But now if you want to go and ask them, sometimes I go to other regions and ask them to do. They told me that you want me to do and they cancel. Excuse me, this expert, I want to apologize. They will say, you want me to do so and they cancel, we go and do the bill. It's the council to do that. So people think that it's the council to do everything. Even you have a small water, maybe the road, they just need to come as a community and repair the road. They don't want to go because they think that it's the community or it's the state. Sometimes because too, they used to do so and the council go and do the bill, or they still go and do the bill. Are you get what I'm saying? So to say that the community was engaged, was even devoted, but sometimes some practice may want them to, like they want to give up. I get what I'm saying. The same thing with pollution. I mean, the people used to call me concerning pollution in the ocean, even the Bakassi area, even the Limbe. Sometimes I go, sometimes I don't go. Once I called them last time, about in 2022. I said that persist more than 6 months, you did not call me. He told me that when I called you last time, 2 times you did not come. That's why I'm not calling you again. And it was true. I did not go. But I did not go because I was afraid to go out of the road. It's a crazy area. If I go in those neighborhoods, I happen that it was a track. He stopped calling me because I did not come. It's true. But you don't know why I did not come. And I could not tell him why I did not come. I get what I'm saying? So people were very committed, and some I even want to continue to be committed. But since they discovered that sometimes there's no action doing, that's why they are not doing something. But in the southwest, that's why I want to say once more, people are still committed. They just need people to engage them. Me, I'm seeing people working even without be paid. The other one too are stubborn, like in the Dongo water there. I'm going there every day to ask people to remove their pipe in the Dongo, but people are still connected their pipe there, removing from their sick tank or the sewage tank to Dongo. And that's why every year you have typhoid and cholera in the southwest. People are still dumping all those things in the gutters. So they cannot say that they are now aware. They think that they are doing that because for the state. Even all the rivers in all those bedroom natural gutters in Iboya, because we have about 4 big natural gutters. People, instead to dump in Isakam, those trash cans, they prefer to dump there. They don't know by dumping there, they are causing malaria. They are causing malaria first of all, typhoid and cholera. You're getting. So I have to go behind them every day and continue telling them how we do so. People may ask why you're not giving sanction. The state is not there only there to give sanction. I want to say that we are not there to give sanction always. Okay. We are there to educate. Sometimes it may be difficult, but we have to continue. That's our role.
Doctor, you talked about urban development. It's true. What? Just maybe last words. What kind of way can urban development really help in ensuring this? Because we know that urban disorder too has helped a lot in causing these hazards.
Without being an expert in urban development, I'll take the angle of scientific research. Any development that you do without considering the disaster risk situation of that area, that development is bound to have a boomerang effect. Because you may go and build a structure, some infrastructure that is needed by the community in an area that is susceptible to floods. You see, that is misplacement of that particular infrastructure. So if we have to carry urban development, it has to be done in a sustainable manner that respects all these other components of development. And that's why the different institutions are there to accompany the different stakeholders so that we can have sustainable urban development. I come to something that Mr. Ekwadi said. He said something here that you can drop your bread in Boya, in Limbe. You pick it up and eat it, but you cannot do that in Douala. There is a reason why. The reason is not because of chemical pollution only. It's because of microbial pollution. And that comes from the behavior of humans. People during the rainy season, they send their sewage pipes into the waterways. And what happens? When rain falls, it washes this sewage downstream, and people consume this water. Sometimes people drop fecal matter on the ground. When they drop it on the ground in the dry season, it dries off. Now, if you realize the incidence of cholera takes place in the months of March, April, May, there is a reason why. Because when you drop this fecal matter on dry ground, it does not get into the waterways. When the first rain comes, it takes this matter into the waterways or the streams that people are drinking. When the people consume this water, they get infected by the cholera. When the rain increases, it would have washed all of this, diluted it, so that in the months of June, July, August, you see there's a drop in the incidence of cholera. These are things people need to know, and we need to know that your action will come back to you. It will have a boomerang effect. So don't think that if you are releasing sewage into your neighbor's compound, you are free of the effect of that sewage. It's going to come back to you.
So just to end, what strategies do you use, and how best can we use to educate? Do we now begin to plant billboards in every community, or hold town hall meetings on these issues of environment and oceans? Which approaches do we need to use? What approaches do you use? I know their delegation has been working, but how many of you are there to go to every community? What are the strategies we can use to enforce this, the advocacy?
No, it's not maybe it's the number of people that we are. It's quite another than speaking here. Many. We have many, so we have those medias there. But the problem is not maybe people don't listen. No, it's not the problem of that message don't reach people.
It's the willingness to change mindset.
It's the willingness or to change mindset. We have a lot of people that think that it's for others, it's not for themselves. But I'm thinking, but sometimes one of my lecturers told me that people cannot stop cutting trees till when the last tree will be cut. I don't want to think so. Are you getting what I want to say? People will not stop cutting trees till when they will cut the last tree, and they will discover that there's no tree. They will start knowing the importance of tree, and that's the problem. In those developing country, they know the importance of tree. Even here in Cameroon, in Garwa, Marwa, because there's no tree, people know the importance of trees, and they are planting. They say here in the southwest, since we have many trees, people don't know the importance of trees. So I just want to say that when people will be sick every day, they will discover that maybe they will change. But for us, we are going to continue sensitizing people, knowing that it's our role, it's our work to raise awareness, to accompany them, expecting that they will change their mindset.
Right. Doctor, so how do someone get to you, to your delegation? What specific, you already said people do scientific, because it's not every delegation that you are the technical heads.
Absolutely.
You just want to give an overview of what people do on a daily.
Yes. We are in charge of implementing government policy at the level of the Southwest region when it comes to science and technology. We have that mandate. That's what the Ministry of Scientific Research is mandated to do. So we represent the ministry in the region. So we do research across a range of disciplines, from agriculture, environment, disaster, geology, biotechnology, oceanography. We do research in all of those areas. Volcanology, just a broad range of things. So as far as the environment is concerned, we advise people to go to the Ministry of Environment, because when we generate data or we have these results, we hand them to the Ministry of Environment that uses them now to implement government policy on environment. But if somebody has a challenge on the field, you can come to us and we'll see if it's a researchable problem, and then we can develop research methods on how to investigate that problem and find a solution to the problem.
Okay. So, Dr. Josh Mafani Teke, you are a geologist. You deal with soils and the others. So thank you very much. And equally, the Regional Delegate for Scientific Research and Innovation for the Southwest region, it was an honor having you tonight.
It was a pleasure being on this platform.
And equally to the Regional Delegate of Environment for the Southwest, Seth Ekwadi, thank you very much for your time.
It was a pleasure for me to talk
of course,
about
you're
the
the right person to have been here.
It's a pleasure. We are always here, so it's always a pleasure for us to be in there to discuss with our people concerning the environment.
Right. Our own role for the media is also to push the voice and keep the advocacy going, so that the population out there gets to know. So tomorrow is the 8th, I think, yes, the 8th, and we are hoping that you will join this campaign, whoever is listening and watching us this evening. Tomorrow is the World Oceans Day. You will join the campaign and keep your environment clean, because it is the only surest way that we can guarantee sustainability of air, land, and waters around us. That was this edition of Mountain Echoes. Thank you for watching. My name is Jude Mbako Munyo Imboya. Thank you to Kindness Njogo and JC Agum for making this production possible. Have a blessed weekend. Bye-bye.